Now, the resulting severe food crisis has many families desperately trying to survive. And joining us now on the phone from the Dadaab refugee camp in Kenya, where many refugees from the Horn of Africa are heading now, is VOA correspondent Gabe Joselow. Gabe, hello.
Hello, Ndimyake.
If you could just give us kind of an assessment of the conditions over there. This is the largest refugee camp in the world, yet we understand that it's so overpopulated that even those who are coming in now really cannot be accommodated.
Well, that's right. Yeah, well, we showed up at one of the camps, Camp Dadaab, which is, there's actually 3 major facilities there. That's only one of them. There were already 300 people lined up outside waiting to get in. These were families and some, single husbands, single women who had traveled by foot mostly from the Somali side of the Kenya-Somali border. So they're coming out, they're showing up, and many of them are escaping the drought, as you mentioned. We talked to one woman whose entire livestock had died. All of her animals had died, and that's a story that you're hearing a lot from people out there. They're pastoralists, and they've just got nothing to live on back home, so they're coming to Kenya desperately seeking a safe place to be. Now, the camps were built to hold 90,000 people about, and with this influx because of the drought as well as a poor political situation in Somalia, the numbers have been pushed to closer to 400,000. So the camps themselves have been overrun, and a lot of people are finding themselves actually out on the outskirts, in places where even the NGOs can't really get to them.
Now, they've had to walk miles. This is about 100 kilometers from Kenya. This is where the Dadaab camp is in northern Kenya. What is the UNHCR and other groups that are trying to help able to do for them? Is there enough food, water, accommodation to help them?
Right. Well, after 6 or 7 days' journey, as it takes for a lot of them, they show up dehydrated, hungry. There are, horror stories you hear of mothers who have had to leave children behind because they were too weak to make the trip. So when they show up, we were there at the reception center. The first thing that happens is the UNHCR and Doctors Without Borders provides them with a medical screening. It used to be that when a new arrival would show up at the camp, they would wait 2 or 3 days after being registered to go through the medical screening. But they were finding that children were coming in such a malnourished state that if they didn't get to them immediately, the consequences could be completely dire.
Now, Gabe, also briefly before you go, for some, this is home. You've mentioned that there's some who have been there and given birth. They're generations of new Dadaab citizens or people born in that camp.
That's right. People have lived there for, over 20 years when it was first built. We heard today that 8,000 grandchildren have been born there, as in third-generation refugee camp citizens, basically. And so when the new arrivals show up, actually, there's a group of young people, mostly, who have been living in the camps for the last 20 years, who help them to get acquainted, who help hand out slippers and some of the first supplies that they need when they show up. So there actually is sort of an accommodating atmosphere for some of the new arrivals, since they're facing a lot of the similar hardships that people who are living there have already been through.
Well, thank you so much, Gabe, for that report.
All right, thank you, Ndimyake.
That's VOA correspondent Gabe Joselow reporting from the Dadaab refugee camp in Kenya.